So before we start today's episode, we just wanted to acknowledge the really tragic and sad passing of Mel Schilling.
So devastating. We're both heartbroken, aren't we?
Genuinely.
We were heartbroken to hear the news just a couple of days ago that she had terminal cancer.
Yeah, when she said, you know, I don't know how long I've got left. I didn't know it was going to be like a matter of days. Like,
yeah, we weren't prepared to hear the news this soon. And she's always been our favourite expert. I don't think we would have done the podcast to begin with if it wasn't for her, because she's like the warm heart of the show, isn't she?
And she kind of gave legitimacy to the UK version as well. And while people like John Aiken have been on a journey in their kind of like learning of how to approach things, I think she's just always had it on point.
Yeah.
And just always been brilliant, always said the right thing, chastised the right people and commended the right people. She's just really good at her job.
Really good at her job, seems like a lovely person on and off screen.
Yeah.
She was well loved by all her friends by all accounts. So it's just very sad.
Feels like we're losing a colleague, which is just feels bizarre.
Totally.
And I read on her an obituary or kind of a statement from her partner. He mentioned that she started a whole new life at 42 by becoming a new mum and embarking as a TV host, and it's just unbelievable how much she achieved in such a short amount of time. In generally what's perceived as later in life. Like,
that is amazing.
She has done so amazingly and really lived life to an amazing capacity, and
she'll be very missed by all of us.
Definitely. It's going to be weird watching this season with her in it still, but I'm sure we'll be very proud of her and her approach.
Absolutely.
And it's sad that we're not going to see another season with her a part of it again.
Shall we get on with the show?
Yeah.
Never before have I been chomping at the bit so much to record an episode.
So much drama. What? This is the best season ever of MAFS.
I think it might be. It's crazy. This week, I mean, it's only just happened, but I looked over my notes and bloody hell, there was enough drama already before the dinner party.
We were reading back through it this morning and I was like, That was all this week? There's so much that's happened.
Well, bloody hell.
Daisy, you're going to have to tell me where to start.
Okay,
I have no idea.
Well, there was a commitment ceremony, which we can just touch on a couple of highlights.
Yeah.
Like, this is where Stella called out Brook's behaviour from the red flag, green flag task. Whee! And Brook is absolutely fuming to be called out in front of people and ends up storming out. Like, she's so deeply badly behaved, and I'm so glad that Stella did that.
Poor Stella.
Because if you're being bullied in that way, you kind of can only do that when you're in a protected environment with, like, being filmed and with the experts there, with a mediator, basically. Otherwise, she would just get completely destroyed, as we've seen later in the week.
Yeah.
But even then, she still gets attacked for doing it, and Brooke calls her a snake or a snitch.
Oh, yeah, snitch. I'm like, no. Oh, God, I can't even speak. You all know what we'll think of that, because it's just unbelievable behaviour.
It's unbelievable. Her and Gia boiling away in the corner. And also in that commitment ceremony, we have Luke deciding to stay.
That was bizarre. But what should we just quickly
let's
talk about them?
them?
Because funny little turnaround.
I can't believe they've actually done quite well. They've started to smile at each other.
I'm worried for him, but I'm really happy that at least they're looking at each other and cuddling a little bit.
Yeah.
Cuddling's a bit of a stretch.
I kind of want them... It's funny because I want them to, like, get on now, but I would never now want to see them together, because he should never be with someone who treated him so badly in the first place. And I don't think
I mean, even it's just her way of being that's too strange.
Yeah. But she's so animated with the girls.
Yeah.
I'm
so relieved that she is actually doing that to him so that he doesn't feel like he's going totally crazy.
I can't tell if he actually hopes for something romantic with her, or if he's just like, let's just make this not a completely miserable experience.
Oh, maybe I'm naive. I feel like he is wanting something. He looks like it.
It seems like that, doesn't it? But I'm just surprised because Luke is very popular popular on the socials. I
Yeah.
think he's gorgeous. Everybody fancies him.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks he's lovely.
Yeah, that was actually Lowry and Harry yesterday, or at the pub the other day, were like, who's the really handsome one? Talking about
Well,
him.
he's handsome in a very like, I guess, kind of boy next door, farmer next door
Well, I was
way.
going to say he's like farmer, he's got a mullet, like he's like, but he also seems soft.
He doesn't seem like he's doing horrible gym bro culture. Like he's
No.
just kind of like accidentally hench because he's been wrangling the sheep or whatever.
Yeah. Okay,
Which-
darling. We're going to cruise.
And he's got a nice face
He does have a nice
and a
face.
sad backstory, which people like. you
And
know.
also he's been like in touch with his emotions through this experiment.
Yes,
because he's been trying, so he's been on the verge of tears, and therefore that's a bit attractive.
I think that's a lot to do with it. The fact that he's had those teary eyes. So, you know, he's obviously got options, although maybe he just lives where there's like population of 3.
I imagine that is probably the case.
So maybe he's like, oh, please. I thought this would just solve my problems and I could come back with a
Yeah,
wife.
because the farmer wants a wife isn't on anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't think.
Well, it's annoying because that kind of TV watching part of me wants to see them get together, even though the logical part of me is like, this should
worst
never
idea
happen.
ever.
Yeah. But I'm happy for him that she's actually respecting him in a way and starting to smile at him. It's weird.
Yeah.
What a weird girl.
Really, really weird.
And he's also seen her be horrible with the other girls. So that must be off-putting for him. Like,
I think
she's like the classic kind of like silent bitchy friend in the clique.
I just want to talk about the couples that aren't embroiled in group drama.
Good
So should
idea.
we talk about Julia and Grayson?
Yes.
So we've gone from like not seeing them at all to seeing them. I'm seeing them too much.
Yeah. Seeing them in a very horrible, tense light.
And what is your best memory on the football field?
What the hell?
She's talking out of her asshole, but we are just pretty determined that she's part of a cult.
Yeah.
There's something culty going on, and we kind of got that from confidence and charisma consultant.
Exactly.
It's
CCC.
all the CCC pipeline to CCCC, the fourth being cult.
Crusty.
Oh, fifth.
She's not crusty,
No, she's not quite crusty.
but I think she probably has.
Crusty hippie.
Yeah, but like particular, you know, like white person with dreadlocks.
Yeah, she's not that.
No.
But she might want to be.
But she might end up like that. She is giving me Alison Mack so much. It's wild. She's
Guys,
giving me Nexium.
If you don't know about Nexium, you need
Guys.
to watch the documentary. It's unbelievable. When was it? The noughties or 2010s? Or
What Nexium?
yeah.
Yeah, I think,
wasn't that
I
long
think
ago.
noughties and 2010s. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it was quite recently that it all. Yeah,
No spoilers, but you
That's
should
my-
watch
that's-
the Nexium doc. Is it Nexium? Is that the name of the documentary?
yeah. I can't remember.
Oh,
it's on
God.
HBO.
Whatever it is, you need to watch it. It's crazy. But Alison Mack, who was in
Smallville, the
Yeah.
blonde in Smallville.
The blonde.
There was also a whole podcast series about her recently because she's talking about it finally. She was like the right hand man to Keith Raniere, who was the charismatic leader of Nexium, and he fed on her. Oh, it was just very interesting because she was so high up in the cult, she ended up abusing loads of women in particular because she was in charge of like bringing women into the women's circle, which was actually like a Keith adoration sex slave cult.
Yeah.
Unbelievable things happened to them, and of course like a big weapon, a big tool of control that Keith used was to control all of their diets, and he obviously saw in her that she already had a complicated relationship with food, so she would be
Probably from being an actor.
being like I think she was maybe like a child actor as well. So yes, Julia is just giving me this, and when she's saying like, I'm sleep deprived, I just need some grace to you to understand that I'm angry because I'm sleep deprived, I'm like, I think you also might be
Hungry.
and kind of repressed because there's something weird going on.
Yeah, that whole discussion was absolutely bizarre. And Grayson was just being like, you're only talking about yourself.
Yeah.
And what about what I need? Which I respect him saying that, but also him being like, Jules talks in all these words that I don't understand.
I love that.
Reminds me of Russell Brand as well. Sorry.
Yes.
This is not to say that Julia is an abuser. We've compared her to two people who...
No.
That is not what I mean.
She's giving me much more the vibe of someone who's been like, you know,
brainwashed.
Recruited.
Yeah, it's just like she talks in like, why are you talking like that? That's not normal person speak.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make you smarter than everyone else. It kind of isolates you even more and therefore probably makes you more susceptible to be in a cult. Yeah, so that argument that they had about the sleep deprivation was so strange.
Yeah.
And
she was saying...
that's what I remember, like, when we were watching it, I think I was kind of like, you can see that it's almost like she's watched Instagram reels about how a relationship should be. And I remember there was like this kind of one reel going around for a while where you talk, you know how people use spoons as like a term for the energy that you've got to bring to whatever.
Yeah.
And
to the relationship
or the day that you have with your partner, and you say, oh, or not even spoons, it's like, okay, I can bring 70% today, or I'm only feeling 10, can you carry the other 90? Like, that's what I'd say to you in the morning or whatever, and then you deal with the day knowing where each other are at.
Yeah.
And it feels like Julia has an idea of how a relationship should work, and it should be like that. Like, I'm sleep deprived, you need to carry the weight, but they don't have a foundation.
Yeah,
and that's not a discussion of how they haven't talked about how their relationship works because they don't have one.
You can't just do that with a stranger. It has to be on a foundation of love and trust.
So she seems annoyed that he's not picking up the slack from her tiredness, but she's not putting effort in.
No, she wanted him to simultaneously leave her alone because she's tired, but also give her attention, because then she was like, well, you knew I was tired and you just went into the room and laid down.
Yes. Oh my God. That was so weird. Like, what do you want from him?
Really?
Not that I'm never wanting to support men or be like one person is better than the other, but that is strange. Like, what do you actually want? Because it sounds like you're saying you're really good at communicating, but it sounds like you're just saying a lot of words and don't actually mean anything.
A lot of self-development jargon that is all to do with how she's feeling, and she hasn't actually learned how to connect to anyone else.
And it's really important to like understand, you know, yourself and like what you need, but if you are only understanding yourself and regurgitating that to someone, broadcasting it to someone, and not like making it a relationship, then of course it's not going to work.
Yeah. And he said in the commitment ceremony, everything's always about you, Julia. And she was like all shocked. But then she continued to make it all about her. And in this sleep deprivation moment, he finally like allows himself to be angry to her.
Yeah.
And they have a little argument. And then when they go into the
dinner party,
Alessandra workshops, she says some trust was really broken in that discussion. I'm like, some trust was broken because he said how he actually felt. That can't be. It can't be that you're allowed to be angry, but when he's angry, some trust is broken.
Yeah.
It's
mismatched. It's not like it's imbalanced, isn't it?
Yeah.
The importance.
It's definitely imbalanced.
There's an imbalance. Then obviously we had the ultimate fantasy, which was her reading questions off of a thing. I understand what she's saying, that connection and intimacy is like more like connection to get intimacy. Like,
me too.
It makes sense, but those questions were absurd.
They were stupid.
You can't tell me that you wanting to know what your favorite quality of your ex is going to like turn you on eventually.
No, and it just felt like a kind of desperate pushing away of what other intimacy could possibly happen.
Yes.
Like if I just filibuster this situation by asking endless questions. Because the idea of like having a long date where you're just talking to each other and learning about each other's childhoods,
really romantic.
And like that is sometimes the most intimate possible thing. But he was just kind of perplexed, and she was just listing off like she doesn't care about his football. So he can't trust her because it's so clearly a performance. Like, she's not actually asking him about stuff she actually cares about. So I don't think it would have been right for them to like put some sexy knickers on and prance about.
No, absolutely not.
But if they'd done something like
a massage,
yeah, or like painting or crafting something together.
Yes. Could you be like, in order to get her kind of connection, could you get a load of collage material and do a scrapbook of like a meaningful, the proudest moment of your life or something? Do you know what I mean? And that can make way for a conversation about that and your values. Why are you proud of that? I don't know. I'm just trying to think of something rather than saying like, oh yeah, I once ran the football to the end of the field and got a goal or whatever. Bizarre. But then come the dinner party, they were kind of getting on.
Yes, I think they were. But that might have just been because they were bonding over how fucked everything else was. But it's more evidence in my mind that she's had disagreements with the production because she's getting a bad edit.
Yeah.
And she not seeing there last week. Yeah. We're not seeing certain elements of their relationship. So I think she's had complaints about the show since. Probably
she's
because
complaining to the show.
Yeah. Probably because she gets told, I imagine she's going to be getting told off by the experts.
Yeah.
And called out on the weirdness of her language that doesn't really mean anything.
And so she'll be like, this is misogyny.
Yeah.
Which I can imagine if I was in it, I'd probably feel the same way. But
I mean, if Grayson is a dickhead and they're just doing a good edit, they're doing it very well.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't seem like, he really does seem emotionally intelligent.
But do you remember how I said to you, he's too good looking to be on this show single? Why? For some reason that's made me want to give him her the benefit of the doubt in this.
There's always a bit room for a bit of benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
for
but
sure.
You're right. I agree. He is emotionally intelligent, but also there's not really any space for him right now, so we don't know anything about him.
Yeah, but the way he communicates with her seems like she has the opportunity to have the relationship she's wanting to have. Like, she keeps going on about, we just need to connect on this level, but then he's trying to say,
she doesn't realise what she's got in front of her.
What do you actually feel? What are you actually talking about? And she's not willing to do that.
Yeah,
she just wants to talk in funny metaphors. Bizarre.
Christ, well, where do we go from now?
Rebecca and Stephen.
Oh my god. Yeah,
Rebecca and Steve.
I can't. Yeah. Let's.
Oh my god.
I mean, well, again, we were correct from the start, but what a piece of work that man is.
Oh,
he really thought he had it. Like, he thought he'd tricked everyone by saying, it's just, obviously we all know what's happened. Like, she's gone to the sex shop, tried to and she was pretty nice about it, that she didn't just not that, I think she did respect his boundaries, and I think it would have been too much if she just wore it and came out and said, come on then.
Yeah.
But it just all played out so poorly. And him then saying oh, yep, she respected my boundaries, and then it made us closer, actually.
Yeah, we got closer because she didn't put some sexy pants on.
Are you joking?
That is so offensive.
It's really offensive.
Our bond actually grew because she kept all of her clothes on.
He's so weird how he just outright lies about things like that.
Why is he bothering?
It's not the first time he's done that. I don't know.
Why is he bothering to say everything's fine? It's weird.
But then he also is so desperate to say that he's conservative and not interested in that. So I'm like, you're not coming across as sincere or authentic, because everything you're saying is at odds with what happened.
I'd love to see if he was still conservative with a 29-year-old. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
It's just so disappointing. We don't want to keep seeing this happen to older women.
And she's so gorgeous and really fun and cool.
And she has
what the hell?
The correct thoughts about everything. Like, her response to all of the girl drama, she's always spot on.
Yeah.
And she might be a bit bumptious, but just for him to say, oh, she just won't stop. She just keeps going and going and going. Like, he's so disgusted at her wanting to have a chat.
4 daughters, you fucking mug.
Yeah.
Do you not know what you're doing? You're putting women down, making them smaller, smaller, smaller.
And then accusing her of not being there for the right reasons.
That was... I was like, why the fuck are you here? And what the fuck do you think she's doing? And when we were reading through the notes this morning, there was something specific that he said to her, something about like when you can do something for the cameras.
Yeah, so at least you can be yourself now and give them the TV gold you've been holding out on.
What the fuck, man? What a dickhead thing to say.
And that was when they broke up, like completely ice cold. He was like, "Yep, so we'll call it a day then."
Yeah, he just came in and was like, "Right, so basically that's the end of that, isn't it? Yep, you're happy with that? Cool, bye." Huh?
After saying everything's basically perfect. I mean, we're so lucky. And that was after his argument with Alessandra.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Alessandra, my queen. She's so good. This tread lightly. This does not sit well with me.
Yeah, I do not take well to this or something. I loved that way of putting it.
She was so quick. Yeah. She was so quick. I was really impressed.
That was I'm getting the shivers now about how awkward that was.
I can't believe he thought he could just say that.
I know.
Who does he think he is?
I love how shocked all the other men were.
Yeah, the other men are doing all right at the moment for some reason.
Yeah, you can't just lash out at Alessandra. You can't lash out at Alessandra.
How fucking dare you lash out at Alessandra? She's my queen.
And you're on a TV show. Like,
yeah, there's people with
they have to film scenes.
Yeah, they have to be like, okay, next scene. I haven't got people talking in my ear. You absolute mug. Yeah, no, I know you haven't because you keep saying dumb shit every second. Okay, I can't remember at what moment that Rebecca said this, but I think it might have been in like around the dinner party. Were they still there at the dinner party? I can't remember because there was so much drama. I don't know if they left or...
I can't remember.
Well, anyway, Rebecca said about Steve's bullshit. She goes, lip service, fruit salad, Greek salad, Caesar. Lip service to fruit salad. I think she meant like word salad, but then just kept listing salads. So funny, such an iconic moment. I'm like, yeah, come on.
That was so
fruit
good.
Salad, Greek salad, Caesar. Speaking of, that's what we're having for dinner tonight.
Oh, Caesar. It's got a bit cold now though outside.
Yeah,
which
maybe
makes
we'll
it
have to
feel
have
less Caesar salady. Well, we can cook the romaine like they do on MasterChef.
I was hoping that I was almost going to say we could have the Herbie rice on the side as well.
Yum.
Anyway.
Right,
babe. We're like 40 minutes in and we haven't even spoken about the drama.
Okay, well then there's another thing we haven't spoken about too.
25 minutes in.
Maybe let's end on good. Go with bad.
Okay, go on then.
That dinner party was the worst thing I've ever seen. It's worse than it's
actually just made me feel nauseous.
I saw you go. Yeah, it's far worse than any cheating scandal that we've seen.
Yep.
It was outright bullying, xenophobic abuse.
Yeah.
It's just pouring out of Brook. Like, it was unbelievable.
And then you had like John Aiken being like, this is what did he say? He said, isn't it ironic that Brook didn't like what Chris said about women? And it's like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
I've never like, okay, all of that just makes her seem like a plant.
I just really do feel like Brook's a plant.
I think Brook's been brought in to teach Chris a lesson.
But which would make perfect sense.
Because I don't believe her, I think I've said this to you before, I don't believe her desire to be on the show.
No, I was really feeling like she was a plant. Then I watched it with my dad who was behind and he saw the red flag, green flag episode. And he was saying, and he's an actor, he was like, I feel like she's doing, like she's been given a prompt for an improv scene, be a massive bitch. And then she's just doing it. Like it doesn't, and my mum was texting him the same thing.
Yeah.
But whenever people say that, I'm like, why would someone do that? If they're an actor, they're now famous for being a massive bitch? They can't then
I don't get
be
it.
like, I'm an actor. And
do
then
they get paid
like,
lots? But I guess...
Or she is an alcoholic who's nasty. Some alcoholics are like that.
I think it could be a combination of being a plant but also an alcoholic.
But you can't have that combination. I don't know.
Well, it fucking seems like it because it's too
crazy.
absurd. Her behaviour doesn't make sense.
It's like completely amoral. The way she comes back, Chris is broken, crying.
Oh my God.
To the producers. We get this amazing scene, which is also
that was an amazing scene, but also dodgy for
troubling,
Yeah.
because you hear the producers saying it's okay for boys to cry. Like, they're
Oh,
not,
my heart broke.
You know, I tell my son he can show emotion, and they kind of coach Chris to coming back in the room because his bravado, which stank and should not be condoned, but yes, we do feel a bit sorry for him,
Yeah.
was so broken that he couldn't even go into the room. They coach him back in. It's dodgy because you're like, you're doing that for the show.
Yeah, like, are you actually
do you actually
giving him
mean that?
therapy, like therapizing him, or are you just trying to get him on the telly? Because it sounds like the latter.
Yeah.
But what they were saying was, at least what they were saying
was true. But then they get him on the show and she comes back, he looks hopeful, and she just doesn't even acknowledge his existence.
Which is why I think they also got him back, because they knew that she was fucking coming back, because she's probably a plant.
because she's texting them the minute before. But I don't know. I'm just so confused by it. And then it would be hard if you're an actor to be that horrible to someone who thinks that it's real. Like, you're just bullying. She goes so hard into Stella and Alyssa.
Yeah.
And I'm amazed at Stella and Alyssa. Like, Alyssa,
I can't believe.
Alyssa's just
Yeah, shut up. You're dumb. You're an idiot.
doing impressions of her voice.
They stood their ground so well. I would have done a Domenica. I would have fucking smashed a glass. Fucking shut up. That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they've both done it. And Alyssa, no, not Alyssa. Stella, when she said, "Do you realise how long you've been talking and I've not said anything?" I was like, my
Iconic.
queen!
Absolutely iconic.
So iconic. And then her being like, "You do realise English is my second language."
Yeah.
And I'm like, it takes me a while to process things or reply and blah, blah, blah.
That made me really
Absolutely
sad.
amazing. And then when Stella went up to Brooke and just said, "Do you want to go and talk?" She said, "Don't touch me."
Oh.
I also think, I'm pretty certain that Brooke is a plant, but I think she's a nasty person. I don't think
Right.
she's.
So it's like someone said you could be famous by coming on the show, giving you a twitty boy that you need to break down, stir up some drama.
Totally. Because we need to teach him a lesson about how he treats women. But I think they didn't know that she's a nasty piece of work. And I also think that obviously Gia's behaviour, she's like mirroring what Brooke is doing. And I think that's because Gia's a nasty person as well.
Yeah.
The way that she said to like Stella, "Go back in your cage," which again, I think is a xenophobic thing to have said. I think she doesn't see her as human because she's from Lithuania. I genuinely think that's true.
Sorry, have you looked at the history of Australia, my love?
Yeah. You go back in your cage yourself, Gia.
That's not what I meant.
I thought you meant because they're all convicts.
Do you think that your people were on this land for longer than fucking 100 years?
Yeah, literally, no shit.
No.
Yeah, no shit. Like, I just am so shocked by the whole
It was horrific.
thing.
And it's so heartbreaking to see them. They know they can't really show the vulnerability in the moment. They have
when Alyssa went back and was like
crying.
Yeah.
They're such lovely people who haven't done anything wrong.
And they're just getting
They're just a bit
picked on.
excited because they're having a nice time. They're just getting picked. That was the most justification I've ever felt because I've been a bit bullied in the past, and sometimes I've thought maybe it's because there's something about me that's bullyable, like there's something about me that's actually really annoying, and then I see that and I'm like, no, it's just
People are cunts.
People are just massive cunts.
Yeah.
Literally. And what the hell
how
can
can
they
they
not
bully
look at
men for?
themselves and how can the men want anything to do with them after that? Like,
Almost the most tragic thing of the whole thing
oh God,
was, I think,
Beck.
Yeah. The fact that
Fucking hell.
Brooke wasn't there and Gia needed to find an ally who she knew would stoop to her level and be as nasty as she is. And she suddenly decided, I'm going to choose Beck.
And Beck was like
yeah.
came running.
Yes. Because
So
I can be in this
tragic.
group. Oh, Beck.
And then she's like, you can tell she doesn't really want to do it, but she's trying to mimic their bullying.
She was doing
it. But she completely discarded all of her values.
Yeah.
And Danny's like, what the hell's going on here?
Oh, there's also that drama where
Yes.
Gia and Brooke says, "I know something about you, Danny."
Well, that's why it was so awful, because Brooke comes back and then just uses
Under the bus.
Beck as under the So he uses Beck as a pawn in the drama. Like, no, you're discarded again.
Yeah, I was like, you chose the wrong side there. You shouldn't have gone along with Gia because the amount of shit that you've said about her, because you know better, Beck.
I was happy that, yeah, so they say that Danny told Gia that she's his regular type, which I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
But also, I'm sure that they kind of made that situation happen because they're horrible. And I was happy that Beck sort of shut down in that moment. She was like, nobody talk to me. I don't trust any of you.
Yeah.
Which is like, yes, right decision.
That's the
which we've
safest thing
seen
to do.
her do before when she was last week talking to the producers and they were trying to be like, what would you do if Danny liked Gia? And she was like, I'm not entertaining it.
I can't even think that because if I think that, then it will happen.
Yeah,
or
I'm not
something.
opening up that conversation.
Yeah.
Just like, yes, you know that you shouldn't be trusting anyone on
Quite
the
rightly.
show.
Yeah.
That was just I'm glad in a way that the men didn't do the like make it about them. How are you talking to my wife like that thing?
Yeah.
Because that's patronising. But I was
David
kind of like
did do it a little bit for Alyssa,
he did,
which was really good.
Merited.
And he did it in a way that wasn't like patronising to Alyssa, but just like saying, you guys are being horrible.
Yeah. And we've also seen Rachel do that at times.
Yeah.
But I
Rachel
think they were
even,
just
I think started at the beginning of that episode in the dinner party. She was kind of like, what's been going on with you girls?
Yeah,
it was either then or another.
She told them off a bit. She was
Yeah.
like, that seemed a bit unreasonable to me when you were picking on Stella.
Yeah.
But Rachel, I love her.
I love Rachel.
But I understand that you'd actually be scared in that moment to speak back against those girls because they were a terrifying force to behold.
I've just never seen anyone behave like that, which is why it just feels so inauthentic. I just can't believe that people would behave that way.
Brooke has no reason to as well. She's got nothing. Her partner's obsessed with her. She's like beautiful.
She's a model.
She's got the kind of highest status in the group.
Yeah.
Like what? Why would she be like that?
And it was really tragic to see Chris understand that she hadn't come back for him. She'd come back for the drama.
He was just like dissociating in the corner
Yeah.
and she wasn't noticing at all. It's great. It's crazy.
So many people are going to be broken from this. But you know who isn't? I think Stella and Philip are going to be fine. I really hope.
I think they're married. Done.
Yeah.
They're lovely.
They seem great. And I love Stella and I want to send her a letter.
It's amazing that she's
Stella,
not
we
getting,
love you.
Yeah. It's amazing that she's not getting more drawn in to everything. Finally, we have to talk about Rachel and Stephen.
Thank goodness. But also,
I was so stressed watching that this week because we obviously had the very positive week before. They got Cameron.
they were holding hands and talking about their past.
Yeah,
and
you're so beautiful and wonderful as you are, empathizing with each other. And then, okay, big respect to Rachel for really, I love her, thinking about what her fantasy is and genuinely saying it, because that is like, I really believe that was her fantasy. Unlike other people who are like, my fantasy is that I wear a thong in front of you. How uncomfortable. My fantasy is
That's
I
my
never
fantasy that
wear
you
a thong
for me.
Well, yeah, yours might be, but
I know that's not. I know. I'm just being silly. Sorry. You're sorry.
Do you know what I mean?
Continue saying what you were going to say. Your fantasy is that you never wear a thong because ow.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, that's just me. But she really was truthful with that whole blindfold thing, and I was, but also knowing his probably autistic tendencies, that was going to be a challenge to him to be put on the spot in that moment in a kind of unnatural way.
I respect him, even that he said, I'm not sure it's going to make you feel something, even though it broke my heart and it broke her heart. I'm glad that he didn't, even though everyone was like, you should have just bloody kissed her. I'm glad he didn't force anything that he didn't feel right with. Also, I guess not being able to see her eyes, like that must have been a strange
You're being
thing.
filmed. You have to walk up and you're super aware of what your face looks like.
Yeah.
And then he had to kind of back it up with like the whole thing of like, yeah, I'm not attracted to you. And then that was disaster town.
Yeah.
Danny said, men used to die in the trenches and fight wars and he's too scared to give his missus a kiss.
I'm like, you should be more scared to give your missus a kiss, mate,
Yes,
because you
you
keep
should.
shagging her and you don't even like her. So
Exactly.
what's wrong with you? Men also died in trenches and they can say no to having sex if they don't want it.
Quite. So I thought all hope was lost. She took out every single piece of furniture from the apartment.
She was like, I need to make a point.
And
And you love a dramatic woman, don't
I
you,
love
darling?
a dramatic woman, and I think he knows how to weather her drama. He's just like, oh, whoops, that's happened. Okay, leave her to cool down for a day. Get her some roses
From Mr. Roses.
and she was over the moon.
That's not me calling him Mr. Roses, by the way.
That was
name
the shop.
of the shop was Mr. Roses, which I found really funny. Yeah, she was over the moon. You're
she
so
was
right.
just so immediately happy to just have that romantic gesture, which
It
gives
was a
him
thoughtful gesture rather than just sulking, which all the other men would probably do.
Yeah, and that gives him a big ego boost because he's like, oh, I can do the things that
can
I
woo a
need to do.
lady.
Yeah. And then they have their kiss.
They said you have to kiss for 3 minutes or something, and then they were a bit worried that was too long, so they
Decided together on a
let's do it
compromise.
bit less than that. And it looked like a nice kiss.
It was nice.
I was like a bit nervous about them kissing. I
Yeah,
was like,
me too.
Is it going to be a bit undateables? No. Lovely. A lovely kiss.
It was lovely. And they're just so open to each other. Like, I hope his attraction to her does build, because
Me too.
it would be really disappointing if we go on this journey and then he's just like, yeah, but you don't look enough like my mum at the end. But I just love them.
I love them. She has the coolest style as well.
She's got gorgeous
She's got really good
style.
taste,
wears
and she
really
knows how to dress herself.
Woo, really cool lipstick, really cool
She knows how to dress herself. That's good.
waistcoats
Yeah.
with her lovely arms out.
Yeah.
She looks fabulous.
She does.
And I think they're both learning each other's ways of being, like, which shows that neurodiverse people are much more empathetic than people think.
Yeah, that
because
classic.
the double empathy
Yeah.
thing. I just love them.
I love them too.
And thank God it wasn't all over in that one terrible moment with the blindfold.
Honestly, I know.
I couldn't keep watching Gia and Brooke if we didn't have Rachel and Stephen.
I know.
And soon we're not going to have Rebecca telling
Yeah.
us how we should feel and think, because she's going to be gone.
Damn it. How am I meant to know?
I know. I'm desperate to see those women chastised
Me too. Terrible.
by John.
Terrible. I can't wait to see it.
I hope Alessandra goes in a bit as
Me
well.
too. I want Mummy Mel too.
Yeah.
Mummy Mel.
Mummy Mel.
Ugh, what's going to happen?
I don't know. Are they going to continue? I feel like it was verging on, like, you need to be removed.
That's what I was going to say.
From
They
the-
probably
from-
should be removed from the experiment, because it's kind of like akin to when, I don't know,
Who got removed that time?
was it Brad?
Who's Brad?
He was with the Shona, the woman.
Oh.
She kind of talked like this in the UK one.
Oh, yeah.
And then he was like, he got removed, I think. But
And did Nikita get removed?
Nikita, I don't know.
This is the worst.
This is the worst.
This is crazy.
Right. I love you.
Love you too. Sign up to our Patreon if you want more telly chat from us.
Weekly.
We were talking about the Manosphere doc this week, Drag Race.
Yeah. I want to talk
Age
about
of Attraction.
Age of Attraction. I want to talk about the Decameron this week. You could do your homework if you were going to listen to the Patreon. And we should talk about MasterChef, the professionals as well.
We've been
Our addiction.
just gripped.
How do we watch so much telly? It's unbelievable.
So that's patreon.com/watchingtelepod. And you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Watching Telepod, and watch us on YouTube if you're not already.
Yep.
That is all.
That is all. And if you're watching on YouTube right now, subscribe, please, and like this and comment something.
Yay! Yes,
Yay!
please. We'll be back next Saturday.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.